We are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? All right, man. Welcome into the Auburn Live Call-In Show. Today is Sunday, November 13th. We were 24 hours away from an Auburn kick-ass of the Jimbos. We are here for all the calls, comments, questions, whatever you got tonight. Oh, man. I had a little feedback there. I'm good now. But we're here. What a great night for Auburn. Great night for Cadillac Williams. Before we get to it all, Cleveland Brown says smash that like. Smash that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Hey, tonight, listen, we're going to get to all your calls, let you guys dictate the topics of the show, and here to help me do it all, got Mr. Cole Pinkston up there in the top right, for me at least. Jhead down there, and window number 2. And Keith Neighbor with that smug little grin. Appreciate you, fellas. We're going to have a great show because Auburn had a great night. I'm expecting a lot of positivity, some curiosity. Never minded that. Before we get to it all, big how about you to Jessica Andrus, eXp Realty. Looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika, and Lee County? Jessica Andrus is the 5-star realtor to help you with all your needs. 334-704-4442. Residential investment property. She's fantastic at that. Working on a couple right now. If you got anything, especially if you want to sell your house, man, she gets that done, son. Jessica Andrus, eXp Realty, 334-704-4442. All right, fellas. Hey, Auburn with a boring, sometimes ugly, but win.
Emotional win.
Big win. Jhead, you liked that, didn't you?
Loved it. I mean, obviously, we know how I feel about Jimbo Fisher. So anytime you get to hand him an L in Jordan-Hare Stadium, it's a positive day for me. But
yeah, I thought you might be happy on that one, Jhead.
Maybe, just maybe. But realistically, seeing Connor Williams be able to get his first win as the first African-American head coach at Auburn, the way the players responded, the way the fan base turned out and was loud very early. Now, obviously, it was cold, so somewhere in that third quarter, it got a little quieter than you probably wanted it to, but they came alive in that fourth quarter when you needed them.
But defense.
The defense. Jeff Schmedding, old Schmeddy, called a beautiful game. Didn't really have to do a lot exotic either. And Cole, I don't know if you noticed anything that I didn't, but schematically I felt like we were very basic. We didn't run a lot of games up front. We didn't really blitz too terribly much. And when we did, we brought it off the edge. I didn't really see anything come up the middle. But I thought our defensive line dominated from start to finish for the most part as far as controlling the run game. And then Jordan-Hare helped take care of a freshman quarterback making his first road start. So really big night for recruiting, really big night for this team, really big night from the Auburn community from a healing standpoint and getting something that they needed, which was a much-needed win, regardless of how it looked, regardless of what the end score was. A win is a win, and close only counts, and horseshoes, hand grenades, and slow dancing. I would turn it over to Cole Pinkston now.
Yeah, you said it all, Jhead. I mean, look, it's hard. It is. You're not going to find many people that are not pulling for Cadillac Williams right now, to the point where people think he needs to be the head coach. And look, I mean, I'm not going that far personally. I think he's doing a great job with the situation he's been handed, as good as you could ask for. And that's why they made the move they made. I think that was a good move. If you have faith in moves like that, maybe you have faith in what they're going to do with the head coach too. And obviously you look at that and the sleeping giant term really comes to fruition watching that game. 3-6 on both sides, sold out crowd. If you had no idea watching that game on TV and you come in and the whole place is lit up orange and there's not an empty seat in the bottom, obviously the top deck kind of cleared out, but it was cold. I understand why.
I was there.
You're like, man, this is yeah, right. But you're like, man, this is game of the year. You look at it, go, this is game of the year right here, man. This is live, and then it doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things with the SEC. So to get the Auburn people back in it like that is, man, when you got that on your side, it's hard to beat Auburn at home. It really is. I don't care who it is. So I loved it. Some people are calling the game plans on both sides Tubervillian, somewhat Tubervillian, which would make sense. Cadillac played for Tuberville, right?
Walked out of the tunnel just like Tuberville, arms locked.
Hard-fighting soldiers.
Had tipped to 2004, baby.
Maybe he went back and said, man, what did we do that was so successful then? Let's try it now, see what happens. We got some good running backs. So there you go.
Just need to get Gorgeous Al Borges out of retirement.
Oh, man, bring him back, Gorgeous. Keith, we got a couple of recruiting questions you can hit real quick. Anthony Rudd wants to know how you feeling about Keon Jenkins. He wants to see that kid in orange and blue. Also, Philip Coleman wants to know about Jeremiah Cobb if he was there. You've been all over the Keon Jenkins. Keith, where you stand with him?
Yeah, I thought Auburn was going to get him even when it was a preferred walk-on situation. Now he's got a scholarship offer. He's committed to FIU, but the chance to play in the SEC. Because look, if it doesn't work out, in the old days, you had to make a real hard choice. Hey, because if you went somewhere and it didn't work out, you may be stuck there for a while, transfer, have to sit out a year. Now you go somewhere, if it doesn't work out, no hard feelings, no issues. You just pack up and go to your next destination. Loves Auburn. That was his first game. He was totally blown away. The kid's a winner, and he's also cousins with the Auburn four-star edge target, Reuben Bain. Best friends with receiver target Lamar Seymour, the Pitt commit, and very good friends with Stanquan Clark, the four-star Louisville linebacker commit. They're all teammates at Miami Jackson. And to me,
Central.
We'll get back to the game in a minute because I'm going to probably end up playing the bad guy here. But to me, what the program needs, two things: an infusion of talent, because I thought that was on full display Saturday night. That it ain't there. Okay, an infusion of talent and an injection of winners. Okay. So what are these Miami Central guys? Well, they're about to potentially win their third straight state championship, and one of the more competitive 4 or 5 competitive states in the country. And so they're winners. Okay. So he doesn't have a huge arm. He's not particularly tall, just under 6 foot. But he gets the ball there. He's got a high football IQ. And I think it's only a matter of time before he joins the Auburn class. So we'll see what they do with his 3 friends and teammates. They got a shot with all 3 of them.
And Jeremiah Cobb, Cole, you and I both saw him pregame come out of the tunnel, walk straight to the midfield, went out and met Cadillac. And we had said before, he didn't RSVP. I don't know if that was by design or not, but he was. But I always expected him to be there. I never thought he would not be there for Cadillac because those 2 guys are so close. They've got such a tight bond. I was expecting him to be there. He comes out of the tunnel, goes to midfield. Him and Cadillac, long embrace there, sat there and talked for a while. And then he left, and excuse me, he declined interviews. But I think him being there was big for Auburn, especially for fighting off Georgia.
Not in a bad way, by the way. Declined interviews kind of sounded like he was fine. Everything was cool. He's just, I'm good. We've talked enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And realistically, what else is the kid going to say at this point without us having a head coach and knowing what Cadillac's status is going to be? You know what I mean? So it'd be hard pressed for the kid to say something and then it not be critiqued one way or another.
And Tyler Justice, this is a good question, Tyler. Great job, Zach in the back. Tyler wants to know about Quay Russaw and James Smith, the 2 5-star defensive linemen from Carver and Montgomery. They were expected to be there. They did not show. We've since learned I think this was in our group text today. Maybe somebody told me this.
I sent it in there. I think he has maybe the flu or some kind of sickness.
It's going around. Yeah.
When I was at Carver the day that Brian Harsin got fired, I went and saw Quay and James that day. James had the flu that day, so it's possible.
Yeah,
it is going around there. So they had a few players with the flu, so that's probably what happened on this one.
Yeah, Tyler, I wouldn't look too much into that, big dog.
And you're talking about 2 guys that have been to almost every Auburn home game. Hell, they've been to more games than I've been to.
Me too.
So
I think they've missed 2 now.
Right. And look, you would have loved for them to have seen that environment last night, obviously. But those are 2 guys that are very familiar with Cadillac Williams, very familiar with this coaching staff, and very familiar with Auburn. And the only thing that they missed is probably getting to take a tour of the new football-only facility, which in and of itself, I know that was a hit with a lot of recruits. And Keith can talk about.
Hey, we want to say real quick, man, The phone lines are going to be open until 7:30. We're looking for somebody to crack that seal. Where's LG at tonight? Where's Anthony from Montgomery? Where's old Hogbone?
Oh, yeah, get Hogbone in here.
Where's Bo from Moody?
Bo from Moody.
Are y'all still recovering? I mean, I understand if you are, but hey, 701-779-9585. Pick up that phone. Give us a call. I sound like me in high school trying to get a date. Please call me.
Did Cole say? I mean, I can't believe I don't know this, but did Cole? I mean, are we competing against Yellowstone right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Not my
show.
not my kind of show, but I mean, I
It
guess
starts back tonight. The new
People seem
season
to
starts
like
back tonight. And
It comes on in 20 minutes.
okay. I will give Kevin Costner this. He's one of the great line readers of his generation.
His movies are always entertaining to me. I will give him that.
Yeah, he doesn't play the same person in every movie. That's what I like about him.
Yeah.
This is a good one for GAU. Cadillac seems to have stabilized with a lot of recruits. Can we actually pick anyone up before a new head coach is announced? I think Keon Jenkins, the quarterback from Miami Central, dude, when you're him and your biggest offer right now is FIU, and you got a legit offer from Auburn, you want to jump on it. And we fully expect him to commit in the next few days. He didn't hold anything back in his interview last night. He was basically saying, I'm still committed to FIU, but not for much longer. And I'll basically be committing to Auburn.
Yeah, he also
pretty
said he's going to be recruiting too.
Yes.
I'm going to be working on my cousin, Reuben Bain. You may have heard of him. I'm going to be recruiting all these guys. So, yeah. And there may be some other ones too. I mean, we'll see if there's going to be some guys that maybe we're all hearing names because we got a group text. Obviously, we're all hearing names of guys that potentially could be offer guys here. And again, when you get that many spots to fill, there's always a chance they could grab somebody during this period because a kid may say, well, let me get on board now. And I think what Auburn's telling people is that the school, no matter who the coach is going to be, they're going to honor these commitments. Doesn't always work that way. We'll see. But that's what I believe they're being told. I know Keyshawn Blackstock, the junior college offensive tackle, has been told that.
There you go.
So, and I think some other ones. I think Clay Whedon, who's currently on the commit list, I believe he said he's been told that too. And the good news is that this is actually a good thing that they don't have a lot of commitments because they're only promising that to 10 guys instead of 22 guys. And the new coach may say, oh, slow down. 10 guys? Okay, no problem. Got to sign 45. So 10 is going to kill me either way,
And Keith, you said it in our group text earlier today. The new head coach may go the route of Billy Napier and take that recruiting class all the way down to the studs, where I think Florida at one point underneath Dan Mullen had 15 to 18 commitments, and that dropped all the way down to like 8 on National Signing Day, where he kept the guys that he truly wanted, which was a unique situation. I mean, it's not unique. Tuberville did the same thing. He called a lot of guys when he first got into Auburn. So, but with us potentially taking up to 40 kids, you got to think at some point, if you reasonably like the kid, more than likely they're going to stay in this class. And kudos to Auburn for promising these kids that have stayed true to Auburn at this point that have stayed in the class, honoring their scholarship and commitment.
Zach, get us going, big dog.
Yeah, we got 5.
Oh,
whoa, hey.
Call and they will come. Let's roll them out.
Everyone stay on the line. We're going to get to everybody. 4406, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Is that Alvin?
Is that Keith?
No.
Yeah, it's because Keith jumped in here busting out laughing. 5407, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? That's us. I don't know what's going on here.
Was that our end?
It looks
Maybe
like
try
it.
another caller.
Ain't nothing different on our end. I don't
This
know.
is Jeffrey from Auburn calling in on those.
All right, I'm gonna jump to the back and fix this. We got some comments though.
All right, cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a prank call as much as the next guy, but I think that might be on our end.
Hicks Rich, not to be confused with old Hicks Poor, one of the great wide receiver walk-ons of my generation. What's the short-term impact on recruiting in portal if Cadillac is not retained?
Interesting. I don't know the portal, it necessarily hurts you too much as far as that's concerned. I think that's going to be more the support staff that's currently in place that probably knows the kids that are thinking about jumping into the portal and can leverage those relationships. Current recruiting class, I think it obviously hurts you with Jeremiah Cobb. There's no question as far as that's concerned. And he's a guy now inserted into this interim role that has talked to every current recruit that we have, in the commitment class and our top tier targets. So I think that would definitely hurt you in the short term. Long term,
Yeah.
you got to do what's in the best interest of your coaching staff and what's going to be best for you moving forward. But short term, it certainly would hurt with the high school kids and the junior college prospects. Portal, I don't see it hurting as much, but that's just kind of my read on it.
Do you think that there were some kids dip out? I don't see Damari Austin leaving. I don't see Sean Jackson leaving. I don't see those young guys.
No,
It's too hard to say. It depends probably who the head coach is. Do they have a philosophy that's going? All right, for Damari Austin, say Lane Kiffin were the hire. If he's bringing that offense with the way they've run the football this year at Ole Miss, you're probably pretty excited unless you just don't mesh with Lane.
Well,
if it's
how the you remember the whole stop steal hashtag? You remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. You remember how that was just like the worst PR move Auburn could have ever made, blah, blah, blah. The fans hated it. It made a big uproar about it, whatever.
Sure.
It almost seems like at this point, if you were to get rid of Cadillac, look, it's up to the new coach, 100%, okay? Should be. But if you did it, it's like after all of this, it almost would be like a really, really sour note with the fan base as a whole.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think
the situation you've created here, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, you got to be careful because the new coach should have full autonomy on who he hires and fires or whatever. So, that's kind of where you're at right now. It could be something to monitor moving forward.
I agree, Cole. And I think if you want to establish some immediate good graces with this fan base, Cadillac's your guy.
I agree. If you're going to keep him, whoever the head coach is, it shouldn't be something where we find out in 2 months whether he's permanent or temporary, like with Travis Williams. It should be, here's my new head coach, Joe Jones, and Joe's got his arm around Cadillac and says, I need this guy. Now, if you're going to keep him.
Right.
If you're not going to keep him, you're not going to keep him. But if you're going to keep him, do that. Don't string him along. Kids and their families see right through that. We know that there was a grandmother of a key recruit in Georgia that did not like the way Travis Williams was handled, and he did not. Her grandson did not end up at Auburn. And so, you got to do it the right way. Whatever direction you do, you got to go in the right way. That's what you got to do. And if you decide to go in another direction, just explain it. They're going to get behind you either way. They're not going to be happy, but they'll get over it.
Transparent.
Yep. Just be transparent about it.
And in that vein, Keith, you're right. I think you saw that at FSU when Mike Norvell was hired, the longtime defensive line coach there, who's kind of the Rodney Garner for their school, was the interim head coach, beloved by kids in that program. And Norvell came in immediately and said, hey, I'm retaining him. And even closer, say like in the AD search, when John Cohen came in, he immediately retained Rich. And that probably created some buy-in with some of the coaches that advocated strongly for Rich to get that position in the first place. So if you're going to do it, like you said, do it quickly. Let them know that you're all in with that person. If you're not going to do it, also do it quickly. Go straight Gene Chizik and say, look, I'm not retaining anybody. Okay, I'm bringing in my whole new staff. I'm sorry, but this is the way I'm going.
So is there a potential issue to keep Cadillac? Maybe. Now, everybody's going to jump
Be the devil here.
There is, and that is that he is becoming so popular, more popular, and more popular each day, that retaining him, if you're a new coach, you better be secure. You better not be an insecure person that's worried that a lot of the players are going to go to Cadillac when times are tough. You're going to have to believe that Cadillac isn't the type of guy. We all know him, and the fans know him, and the people know him. The people around him know that he's not the kind of guy that would allow a fracturing to happen within a team. But a new coach may not know him, okay? And may be insecure to that fact that, hey, we're 3-3 in my first year. Not everybody's bought in. We see that all the time, right? There's always some a lot of times, first-year struggles. Who are they going to run to? Are they confiding more in Cadillac Williams than me, the head coach, and my new staff and my new GM and my new this and my new that? So it'll be important for him and Cadillac to get on the same page very early on. And again, this is just a situation. I'm just explaining how situations work.
Sure.
I mean, again, I have never seen one thing in Cadillac Williams that wouldn't lead me to believe he wouldn't put Auburn and those kids on the team before himself and everything else. Okay, so let me make that clear. But there's a reason why. Sometimes the most popular guys on a current staff, when the head coach is let go or quits or leaves for the NFL or whatever, aren't around that next year. Okay, and that's the reason. So hopefully, let's just hope it's somebody that knows Cadillac, likes him, they get along great, and they can build this beautiful friendship and business relationship together that benefits each other, the fan base, and most importantly, the players on the team. That's what we're all hoping for. And I'm sure that's what Cadillac's hoping for. And I'm sure that's what a lot of the players are hoping for. But now you've got the players really stumping for Cadillac on Twitter. And that's fine. They love the guy. But now we got to make sure that once a new head coach is in place, if it's not Cadillac, they're going to have to accept that guy is now in charge. And they're kids, it's tough sometimes. They love this guy. It's pretty clear. You saw the emotions in the locker room before the game, after the game. I mean, who doesn't like this guy? I've never met anybody that doesn't like the guy, quite frankly.
Zach, get us back live, big dog.
We're going to try one more time here. 0970, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Don Juan this week.
DJ.
All right.
What's on your mind, Don Juan?
Well, did you kill any deer this afternoon?
I didn't even kill any time, dude. I've been working straight for about 30 hours. I took 6 hours off last night between 1 and 7 to sleep. I got up 7 o'clock this morning, went and got basketball recruits, came home, ate a little bit, sat on my throne for a few minutes, went back out, got football recruits, and now we're doing podcasts. I appreciate your concern. I did have a good conversation with Clay Wheaton and his dad, though. They've been seeing some big bucks down there.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I got two questions. Is on the NIL collective, how is it distributed to each player, and is it yearly or is it just for the football season?
Okay.
The next question is,
all right.
What is the game plan? How can we get Camden Brown more involved in this offense?
All right. Hey, Don Juan, appreciate your call, big dog.
See you guys.
Yes, sir. Brett Whiteside joined the show last week and was talking about the length of contracts. They differ. However, most of them are set within the season. And if I'm misremembering, y'all jump in here. But after that season is over with, the responsibilities of those clients are minimized so that those kids can live their lives and whatnot. Camden Brown, hell, you're not gonna get an argument from me about that. Jhead Cole, Camden Brown. He had a drop against Mississippi State.
Right.
So let me be objective here because I'm pretty biased towards him. He did have a drop. It was a little behind him, but he had his hands on it. But let's be honest here, dude. Is anybody on the team can throw him the football?
I was going to say,
yeah.
Improved quarterback play would be necessary for Camden Brown to be more involved in the offense. And I think right now what we're doing is we're playing to our strengths, which is a mobile quarterback and 3 very good running backs right now. Will Friend, look.
Yes.
You could see it from where I was sitting. A&M had 8 in the box all night, and they still were able to chew up and rush for almost 300 yards last night. So what they've been able to do has truly been special in the run game here lately. They found something specifically as it pertains to, the power toss. They ran inside zone a handful of times, mid zone where they were able to bust it. I saw a couple guard tackle counters mixed in there, Cole. I don't know if you saw that executed, which is kind of the in vogue play now from the running game as far as that's concerned. So really excited to see what we're doing in the run game, but you're right. I think Robbie has a lot of potential, but he still requires a lot of development as a passer in the SEC and in this offense. And who knows who the next head coach is going to be and what offensive philosophy they're going to employ. But I think they're just kind of going with what they have right now and trying to execute it in an efficient way to make sense on offense.
Yeah, and I'll make it real quick. Will Friend and I Killiard probably got together, and probably Cadillac. Well, I know Cadillac did. Got together and said, we run the football pretty well for a team that's 3-6 or a team that doesn't, have much ahead of it. Let's just completely take this run game, and we got to open it up. We got to get everything we got in the run game. Passing concepts look exactly what like Harsin and Keesaw were doing to me for the most part. So
Exactly.
I don't think they changed a lot there. I think they said, look, even when we're throwing the football, we complete 10 passes a game. That's not enough to really move the needle. We got to run the football. That's what they're doing. They got options there. They got, Ashford is a good runner, obviously, and then you got the backs. So Camden Brown's probably not going to be in the offense much going forward. I hate to say it. You keep him, you make him stick around for sure. You make sure he stays because he is a big piece coming back in the next year's offense when they can actually develop a passing game. They can put time into it. So, yeah, this season not looking good for his, his production.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that wheel route was money last night, though. If he hits Jarquez, he's still running right now. And that was a beautiful peel out in a similar wheel route by JJ.
Yep.
Definitely.
It was the exact same concept that they ran 3 times against Mississippi State, and they pulled it out twice, and it scored once, should have scored the other time.
Absolutely.
My concern with that game was that Auburn would be too one-dimensional and that they wouldn't be able to score enough points. I picked Auburn to win, but like 27-26. As it turns out, A&M just couldn't do anything. Now, granted, they got the flu. Guys hurt.
Don't make excuses for Jimbo King.
A loss is a loss. But let's be honest. That's one thing that concerns me. I mean, it's great that Auburn won, and especially for Cadillac and for the kids. But that was a 3-point win over a team that's. Boy, they're getting pretty close to just going off the cliff. You know what I mean? If they haven't already. So it would have been worse for Auburn to lose it. Let's put it that way. It would have been much worse for Auburn to lose that one because, man, I mean, A&M, if you can't beat them right now, when are you ever going to beat them,
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Now, worse for us or worse for A&M?
No, I think if Auburn would have lost that game, given that A&M is where it is right now,
sure,
it would have been just kind of like, oh, God. Is this thing ever going to turn around at Auburn? You know what I mean?
Right.
But interesting question, though, for the A&M side. Like, so if you're looking at this from a nonpartisan point of view, was it worse for A&M to lose, or is it worse for Auburn to lose, given the situation that Auburn's looking for a new head coach?
I think you can make an argument for either side because A&M's season's already shot. Okay, they're already and they've already the fans have already accepted the fact that, and the same at Auburn too. But they've already accepted that it can't possibly get any worse. Now that said. They get a couple guys healthy. You know who they play in Week 12, right? LSU. And that is one of those weird games, just like LSU. Arkansas is always weird. Arkansas had 50 chances to win that game against LSU, right? So, we'll see. SEC is really weird this year. I'm not sure. I don't know how you guys feel this off the subject. I'm not sure it's as strong as it's been. And so I don't know, is Georgia just awesome again? They might be. But or is this the year somebody else in another conference? But then you say, well, who could it be? Nobody in the Pac-12, obviously. Could TCU beat Georgia? I don't know. Michigan or Ohio State? Maybe.
I think Michigan's a terrible matchup for Georgia. Ohio State's a better matchup, but I think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State to get to actually get to the finals. I think that Michigan is going to absolutely run the ball down Ohio State's throat.
Hey, keep this going, Zach.
5810. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, fellas. Anthony from Missouri.
Anthony, there's my man.
Yeah.
What's on your mind tonight, Anthony?
Good night, fellas.
Doing well, man. We've been waiting on you, big dog.
I heard I was getting over. I guess it's in the air in Montgomery. Getting over the flu from last weekend, so I couldn't call it.
There you go. Stay away from the Carver boys.
Yeah, now.
What's the latest, man? I see Hope dropped the top board. What we want to talk about? We want to know if we're going to be the next coach.
Yeah. Hope just dropped. Hey,
do we lock our guy up?
Say that again, Anthony.
Or do we lock our guy up in the next couple of days? What's the latest? My voice doesn't go right.
Okay. Hey, we're going to touch on that right now, Anthony. Thanks, big dog. I appreciate you calling in, man. Justin Hoganson did. Oh, Okay. Justin Hoganson posted his hot board. says the next 48 hours could be critical.
Mm-hmm.
According to his source, there's a belief that Cohen, and I'm not going to read it all, but I'll give you guys to listen. Cohen may use the positive momentum from the game, all this that's going on right now at Auburn, a lot of positive stuff going on in Auburn, to push for a commitment from a candidate. So there could be these wheels could be turning. And I'm going to say this. I was told last night at the game by a source that Monday could be a day to keep an eye on. And I'm talking about tomorrow. And I don't know if that means publicly. I don't even know. But I actually told Keith last night. Maybe I told Cole too.
Yeah, you did.
But keep an eye on Monday.
I would say privately and verbal commitment are the words that come to mind with regard to an agreement, that nothing in writing would happen until after the season. But I would say that I'm hearing similar to you, Jeffrey, as far as that is concerned, or within that vein.
So, hey, good stuff, Anthony. I appreciate you bringing up that the coaching hot board. Hope just posted that on Auburn Live on 3, folks. If you're not a member to that site, now is the perfect time to join, because it's $25 for the entire year, $2 a month, and you're going to get all that. We will certainly be keeping an eye on that. Keep us going, Zach. Good call, Anthony. Appreciate you, big dog.
Before we get to the next caller, the chat's going to kick me off the show if I don't post one of these comments. There's been 50 of them tonight already.
Okay. I have not heard anything about it. That's the first.
I've heard it.
I have
I
to.
don't buy it.
I haven't heard anything.
Is Dabo the new prime?
I mean, he grew up a true-blooded.
He's a Birmingham Bammer,
I
dude.
mean, yeah.
Look, there are things that get said in coaching searches that are such red herrings, and people want to believe because it's all coming from somebody credible. Okay, and I'm not trying to insult anybody as far as that's concerned, but reasonably speaking, Dabo Swinney has zero reason to leave Clemson to come to Auburn at this juncture. Now, is there a possibility that Jimmy Sexton is negotiating on his behalf and utilizing Auburn as leverage to create an even larger contract with Clemson? Hell yes, there is. And don't think that he wouldn't do it. Jimmy gets paid every time that contract goes up, brother. 5% of $12 million is more than 5% of 11.5. So what I would say is maybe that name has been floated at some point, and it's been floated to realistic people. Don't buy it. I think Justin has listed Lane Kiffin, Hugh Freeze, Dan Lanning as the 3 candidates to watch. I would agree with that at this point. And if I'm being honest, to me, it's Lane Kiffin versus the field as of now.
I'm going to keep. Listen, as a Lane fan, I mean, I don't give a shit, but I'm going to say Hugh Freeze until it's not.
Okay.
So that I win either way.
There you go. So either you're right or you're right.
That's right. Either I'm happy either way.
When we go back to a few weeks back, I guess a month ago, when we said who would be your first pick, I believe there were 2 guys, and this is like Hollywood squares here. I'm going to try to point right there. DB Cooper, Lee up there,
Yeah, get that bug right
and me had Lane Kiffin number 1. I can't. Did you guys have Lane Kiffin number 1? I honestly don't remember. I just remember Jeffrey and I did.
Number 1 was that for our preference?
Yes, for who would my first choice be? And I think we both said Lane Kiffin.
You did. I think I said Dan Lanning.
I said Lane Kiffin, but Hugh Freeze a very close second for me.
Yeah, for me too. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. You get either one of those 3.
No, Cole, you told me Freeze last night. Don't you start backtracking.
No.
I said both.
I think Cole said Kiffin on the show. I think Cole said Kiffin on the show.
They're on the same level for me. I mean,
Cole told me, we talk a lot every day, right? Cole told me 6 weeks ago, he said, I got an inside source. It's Bill Clark all the way. So you got to read into that.
But the source went back, and then he said it was going to be
because Bill
Clay
Clark's
Helton.
Bill Clark's not a Bammer at all. So
Oh, here it comes.
Cole did not say that.
I'm just kidding. Hey, Bill Clark's already accepted this job once.
he turned it down already.
AuburnLive.com. Right now, the hot board is up. I just read it. It's great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, keep us going, Zach. Appreciate your call, Anthony.
1457. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Zeke. You.
Zeke?
Zeke?
Hey, I gave Zeke. How about you?
Well, I want to know about the. Does Ashford have the character of a Cody Burns and would be willing to move to a wide receiver position, or do you see him transferring? Because I think we all know he's not an SEC quarterback.
I think we all do, Zeke. I just don't think he does. That's why I don't see him making a move.
I tell you what, Cody Burns, didn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Did he make like a statement to the team that he was moving a receiver and this was the best move for the team and all that? Am I wrong on that?
Absolutely.
Do you know how much that probably helped him in the long run with the team? Even just with the coaches, like, hey, yeah, I can trust this guy. I can move him in and play him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying anything against Robbie Ashford or anything. If he thinks he's going to be a quarterback, you can stick to your guns and try to make it. Absolutely. But he sure would be a good receiver, I think. Might need to explore that.
He's such a good athlete.
He's a very good athlete.
He'd make on this one. Jhead, I know you were ready to say something.
No, I'm gonna let you go, Keith. I'm gonna hold my tongue on this one.
I was able to in college cover a lot of practices. They had open practices at my college, so I was able to watch this stuff. And you see guys with great arms and great athletic ability and great smarts, but when they were young, they would overthink. And when you're overthinking, your brain and your arm, there's that connection. It's like there's a wall there that keeps the cords from being connected to each other. And then the other thing that does that is when you're running around for your life a lot of plays, with broken plays, you're not getting to think and process things. So we don't really know what he could be, what he's really capable of. On the other hand, it is his third year in college, okay? There's a lot of guys that in this year of college now, Drake May's a second-year guy, is he not? There's a lot of guys in their third year that are going to be going off to the NFL. So I'm sort of torn. He's never really had, he was a backup at Oregon, no fault of his own. They had good players in front of him. And now he's playing, and he's doing some good things. He's doing a lot of great things in the running game, and he's tough, and he's physical and all that stuff. Little too emotional for my taste. I don't know that a quarterback you don't want them mixing it up too much out there. They got to kind of be the guy that's keeping other people calm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once in a while. We see Tom Brady blow up. Once in a while is fine, okay? But I just don't – I'd like to see him come back in the spring regardless of who the coach is, get a fair shot, have a fair competition, see what happens. See, the question I ask to you guys is – how much of a percentage does his passing go up before he's a true passing quarterback in the SEC? 5%? 10%?
What's his passing percentage
does he have to make to really be an effective thrower in the SEC? Because if you don't think he can reach that,
To me, it's 63%. He needs to
be – a long way
–
to go in your eyes.
Yeah. He needs to be a 63%.
I don't mean his percentage passing, Jhead. I mean if he's at whatever his skill level is right now. What percentage does his skill level need to go up, is what I'm saying, as a passer? Can he get there?
He needs to go up 50%.
That's a lot.
I know.
But if he can get there, if he could get there.
Oh, he's an elite quarterback.
That's what the great tease is going to be for all these coaches. God, if I can get this guy there as a passer, holy cow, okay? Because he's an elite runner.
Absolutely.
It all depends on the system that they put around him. Right now, you can tell, and Cole can testify to this, that he is absolutely thinking when he's back there. He's not moving guys with his eyes. He's consistently trying to bail from the pocket a little too quick as far as that's concerned. Not being able to set his feet. You can see that like on that deep throw where he had the kid wide open down the seam the other night. And I'm trying to think of who it was that he had, but completely underthrew it. I mean, completely underthrew it. Had him for an absolute touchdown if he sets his feet and lets that rip. But he was thinking about it, had his eyes in the wrong spot, tried to move over, and it's really hard for Robbie right now to get off his first read. That's the other thing that you see.
First read not there, he's gone.
Right. First read not there, he's looking immediately to the check.
You're talking about a guy who, yes, he's good at running the football, but even these zone read plays, I mean, it's been like pulling teeth to try to get him to read it correctly.
Right.
And again, the dude is a freak athlete. I mean, we're not downing him on that. He just, as a quarterback, it just might not be working, guys. I mean, it's going to take so much work to get that arm where it needs to be and to get his brain and his arm on the same page, like Keith was saying. It's going to take a lot of work on that.
How does he know if a new head coach brings in 2 new quarterbacks, let's say, too? Hey, I'm the starter. We don't know. We don't know how he's going to handle that either. So there's a lot to be determined.
Who knows if he'll be the next Malik Willis? No.
It all depends on the system because, like I said, Hugh Freeze ran an RPO system that fit Malik Willis to a T, and he coached that kid up completely. Look, if you put Robbie Ashford and Gus Malzahn's offense, or even hell like a Rich Rodriguez type offense that they were running at Ole Miss when he was recruited and signed to go there before he decommitted and went to Oregon after Rich Rod and Matt Luke got fired, he is tailor-made for what they do. I mean, absolutely tailor-made.
Does he throw better than John Rice Plumlee, who's an average thrower at best?
I did just look up his completion percentage. It's 50% on the year.
Plumlee?
No.
That's Ashford's.
Okay. Yeah.
He's 50%, 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions this year.
It should have been more than that.
He's not. Look, they're in pass protection. He's not getting. He doesn't have Joe Montana's San Francisco 49er offensive line there. So again, it's hard to fully judge him, but from what we see anyway,
You mean he doesn't have Dana Stubblefield blocking for him back there, Keith?
For me, his mentality isn't of that of a quarterback. He's not back there. He's not reading. He's not going through his reads. He's not, looking off the safety to come back over here. He doesn't do the little things mentally that a quarterback, a third-year quarterback, a seasoned quarterback, a guy who's played the position since whatever. We know he was a winner at Hoover and good enough to obviously play at a Power 5 school. But I don't see a quarterback. I don't see a quarterback to mold. I see an athlete that you would have to mold into a quarterback, not a quarterback that you can mold to make a better quarterback.
Yeah,
and that's just too much.
Yeah, and to me, the coverage doesn't get as more simple than it did last. I mean, it was man-to-man, 8 down in the box, very little zone coverage that he was looking at. So they weren't playing a lot of games in the back end. They weren't rotating safeties. They were basically, we are not going to let Auburn run the football anymore, and they had rolled everybody up. And if you're not able to ID coverage and look, I didn't see everything because where I was sitting, you couldn't. But it looked like guys were creating some separation last night, and we just weren't able to execute for whatever the reason.
There was definitely a throw, and I notated it today on the corner. Javarius Johnson on a mesh concept got loose. He was in single-man coverage. Ashford, I will give him credit, did not have time to make that throw on that play. That was the problem on that play.
So if you're Robbie Ashford, you got to sit down with your family and say, what is I love playing quarterback, but what is the best path to get me to the NFL? What's his ultimate goal? To play quarterback or to play in the NFL?
Right.
And so here's a guy that didn't choose to switch positions, Joey Gatewood. I don't even know where he is right now. And here's a couple guys that did accept a position change. And unfortunately, the problem is a lot of these guys end up being the stereotypical the black athlete, and we pigeonhole these guys. And I feel bad for a lot of those guys because people think, they can't play. Well, yeah, anybody can play quarterback if they're good enough. But you don't understand what I'm saying. We as fans sometimes have been guilty of that. But who was the one guy that made any sense? Anquan Bolden went to FSU as a quarterback, switched to receiver. Now very early. Jordan Reed was a quarterback at UF, ended up being the highest paid tight end in the NFL. And it goes on and on. Quarterback?
Who sure was. And good one too.
Hines Ward. There you go. So there's been quite a few. CJ Uzama, right? I mean, was he a quarterback? So he's an elite athlete. We all think the world of him, everybody on this show. I mean, and the guy plays his guts out every single play. There's nothing not to like about the guy. But is he an NFL quarterback?
He reminds me so much of Hines Ward. He really does.
I'll give you one more. Danny Amendola. He was a quarterback. Or no. I'm sorry. Who was the other white
Edelman?
Julian Edelman.
There were probably people telling Malik Willis, you got to switch positions. I mean, it cuts both ways.
It does. And so it all depends on what the kid believes about himself.
How about Randall Cobb? Is that another one?
Sure is.
Antoine Randall.
Yeah, Antoine Randall was an absolute stud in Indiana.
Well, Cordell Stewart was a little bit of everything, right?
The slash.
Ton of these guys, man.
Yep.
The slash played quarterback all through college, I think, but it was when he got to the pros that he started moving over.
Nick Marshall he played quarterback at Auburn. He's playing defensive back in the
That's
CFL.
right.
Has some time in the NFL too.
Yeah.
And didn't he lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the interceptions that one season? That was insane.
Baller, man.
Probably throw Trevon Reed in there too.
Yeah.
Well, he converted wide receiver to defensive back.
He was he was a quarterback in high school, but everybody thought he was going to be up.
And you know what, though? What about all those guys that I'm going way back now? All those guys at Penn State that went to Penn State as big, lumbering white quarterbacks that ended up being big,
Tight
lumbering
ends.
white linebackers in the NFL. Right?
Right.
There are a lot of those guys, too.
All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog.
It's
4148. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Gomer. How are you guys?
Gomer.
Man, I tell you what, I posted earlier today about Caddy. I literally think I would build a statue outside the stadium next to our 3 Heisman winners with that guy. With what he's done to inspire this team, it just is unbelievable with a disparaging year that we've had and what he's done to pick this program up. I mean, I'm going to love that guy forever, maybe more than any other player that's ever played for us. What do you think?
Hey, Gomer, we appreciate your call, big dog. It's to me, he's an easy guy to pull for. And,
Oh, yeah.
okay, but forget that. Seriously, what has this guy done mentally for these kids? The past 2 weeks it's been phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, let's not be overly dramatic here, but in an Auburn world, this is movie script.
Yeah. Absolutely, Jeff.
And Keith, I was pissed off last night.
Yep, I know what you're going to say.
Oh, I was pissed off. I grabbed this dude. I said, y'all better take him off on your shoulders. And they were pouring ice buckets on him when it's 32 below out there. Pick that man up and carry him off the field.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe I was so pissed off.
We're kind of at that point now where if somebody says, I don't think he should be the next permanent head coach, other people think that's a slight, right? And, I mean, you have to respect and admire everything the guy's done. And I hope that people listening and people on our site, anybody that's ever met the guy, he's just like the nicest guy, man. He's so down there. He's the most humble star I think I've ever met. I mean,
You would think he was a PE teacher
yes.
for Drake Middle School. You wouldn't know that he was a Heisman finalist, a top 5 pick, the leading rusher at Auburn.
You got sports writers walking in that athletic complex acting like they
Yeah, right. With bigger egos than him.
This guy's humble and humility, and the kids love him. And, that doesn't mean he's not tough on them, by the way.
No, he is.
No, he's very tough, apparently. We've heard some chatter about the academic side, right? So, I mean, this guy, he cares. What did a coach tell me? It's the most important thing is you got to know the kids have to know you care about them. And there ain't no doubt with Cadillac Williams that he cares about every single one of those guys and their families.
He's so genuine.
Us 5, if you asked him.
Yep.
He's that kind of guy.
In the words of Pat Dye, you can coach him as hard as you love him, and Cadillac absolutely embodies that. And that's what this team needed right now, to rally around each other, to believe in each other, to get to the point where you can have some success as this season kind of starts to end, starts to come to a close. And he was the perfect candidate for right now.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm going to go on record as saying that while Cadillac Williams is everything that you want in an interim head coach and injecting life into this football team, he is not ready at this point to be the next head coach at Auburn. And you're going to ask me why I would say he's not ready. And a lot of people are like, well, just dump $4 million into a coordinator and let Cadillac, Cadillac has been an assistant coach for 4 years. Head coaches, part of what they do is networking with each other and knowing who you can go get that next coordinator. It's not just paying somebody. It's do you have the relationship and the trust with that person to bring them in to fix what's ailing your team? Do you have the contacts, in the off the field staff to come in and kind of rectify some things that may or may not be right or wrong? Have you run, an off-season program where you understand how camps and conditioning and the spring practice? Auburn is not in the position right now to gamble to a degree. And while Cadillac Williams has an immense upside, and I believe he is going to be a head coach one day, I don't think that time is now. I think it's time for him to learn a little bit more, to be mentored by somebody that understands this profession and has been a superior head coach, and then let him get his chance.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Real quick, do you guys think there's any coordinator worth $4 million a year? I mean,
No,
you're only as
I
good
don't.
as the players you got, right?
That's
And you
right.
got all the great plays in the world, but if me and Jeff are your left tackle and right tackle, it ain't gonna matter. Okay.
Correct, Keith.
Put Cole in there at right guard next to me just to give us a little protection on the right side. But I mean,
You get it from me, Keith. Don't worry.
Yeah. Right side, wrist side.
Hey, my 170-pound self is definitely not blocking anybody. You can bank on that. That's an Olay block for
That's
you.
a weird flex there, 170.
175. Come on
Oh,
now.
oh.
I'm in fighting shape.
Hey,
Don't take that 5 away.
I'm 220 all day, but I get 225 at night.
I hear you.
Hey. All right, Zach, keep us going. Hey, 10 more minutes, folks. Phone lines be open. 701-779-9585. Get on, and we will get to you.
1370. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who we talking to?
Calling from Nashville. This is Lord George.
What's up, LG?
Hey, better late than never, big dog.
He had to watch the overtime Packers Cowboys.
Hey, no excuses, man. There's no excuses.
Hey, Rudy Ford, 2 picks
True.
today.
The pride of New Hope, Alabama.
Sure is.
All right, LG, what you got, big dog?
Yeah. I was wondering how much y'all think the success in the run game is, due to some scheming and the O-line improving versus the competition. And then what do you guys see with the run game kind of going forward? You touched on Robbie Ashford's sort of limited sort of passing capabilities. So we got 2 more games. So I don't know how much we're going to rely on the run game going forward.
Cole, listen, I was thinking about you last night. I've definitely, as my amateur eye, has seen different concepts in the run game.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I hate the student body into the boundary. Oh, it pisses me off. The toss sweep.
There's
to the
a
short,
reason for
to
it.
the short side of the what? What is it? Please tell me. Is the number? Are the defense playing the strong side, the field side? Like, are the numbers better field boundary?
Number 1, it gives you a cutback. Number 2,
It gives you 1 cutback. You go that way, it gives you 3.
well, it's you set things up with it, right?
Yep.
You got to set things up with it. And look, Will Friend's done a good job of setting things up, I thought.
Cole, I agree.
He had a play action. They did the student body to the field, and then Tank released down the sideline on a wheel. Nobody even saw it because Keandre Jones was even further downfield than him.
Oh, yeah.
Evidently, he didn't know the play, so big penalty there.
He was running like a man with his head cut off down there. I saw the same thing, dude.
Cole, but so on the short side, everybody says, well, there's no space for the back. But that also means there's less space for your blocker to get to his man to engage, right?
Correct. Also,
So you're shortening the field.
if you got aggressive linebackers, there's a great chance they over pursue, and you got that cutback. Man, where I went to college and learned under what I consider an offensive genius, Mike Turk. Man, he was all about. Former Troy quarterback. Man, he was all about stretch to the boundary, and we rushed for 400 yards a game, dude. So, I mean, there's something to it. I mean, you need to do it to the field too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't do both, but to LG's question, I'll just jump into that real quick. LG, you still there, man? Ask that question one more time.
No, he cut him off.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's off the line.
New running concepts.
Yeah. So obviously you're mixing in gap schemes and zone schemes now, which when I watched Brian Harsin, and those of you who are on the corner, I script the plays for you guys. Here's the script. This is what they're calling. It may not be exactly what they call it, but this is what we're seeing here. Mid zone, wide zone, that's it. Nothing else. We're not doing anything else. That's it. That was it. And I don't think mid zone and wide zone would have been enough to beat Texas A&M last night.
No.
It's not. You got to have the toss sweep. You got to have the jet sweeps, the fly sweeps, the GT counters, the tight end guard counters, all of that stuff, the boundary run plays. All that stuff is so important, man. And it helps the offensive line. You just don't know how much it helps the offensive line. If you ever played offensive line, you run the same thing over and over, you start to feel that defensive lineman in front of you jump you because he knows what's coming. He knows where your first step's going to be. If he doesn't know where your first step's going to be, you got the advantage. That's just football,
And I thought they did a good job with shifts and motions with the tight end Cole to create a mismatch or leverage on that side, and then also as far as eye discipline is concerned, because A&M was over aggressive at times.
Yeah, they
we
were.
saw with their safeties and their linebackers.
That's because they have really good athletes. They have really good athletes.
Twitchy, bro.
Yeah,
really twitchy. But no, Will Friend did a fantastic job, and like you said, Cole, I think it's the variety is what you're seeing now. And it's so important to be able to mix, specifically with Tank, to be able to mix in gap scheme, to tell him where the hole is going to be and just hit it. He doesn't have to think. He's not trying to read the hole.
Right.
You know what I mean? He knows where he's supposed to go. Just hit it and go.
Exactly.
And look, Lane Kiffin has really him and Lincoln Riley have revolutionized how you use the counter, and we're starting to incorporate some of that in our offense, and it's been really nice to see.
Yep.
Hey, I'm with Lucio 989. No, I'm not with him on the first part. Y'all know I love Jarquez Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't agree with that first part.
No. Who's
hold on. I don't agree with any of it. I'm not saying obviously better than Tank. I just think Jarquez Hunter he's really good.
He's explosive, man.
I love watching him run the football.
I love
Tank. To me, I didn't realize this. Tank is a lot smaller than I thought. There were times last night where I thought it was Ontario McCaleb out there.
I tell you what, Keith
I don't know if it was the white britches or what. He looks
because he's fast. Like
okay.
Keith,
it was a jet sweep or something, and I thought, damn, is that 23 or is that 4?
Yeah, it was a jet sweep, and he was getting it.
Yeah.
What reminded me of Ontario McCaleb is when Jarquez went airborne.
So real quick, Keith got on the recruiting thing for a minute the other day. I have a serious problem with only having 2 run schemes, and these are your 2 running backs, Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter. You got to be more creative than that, man. It's not that hard. We give Will Friend a lot of credit, but my gosh, that's what you should be doing, and he's doing a good job. It pisses me off. Okay, I can't stand it.
Look at the offensive lineman and Cole come out right now.
What in the world? What are you doing? What is that?
Get pissed off. Zach, keep us going before Cole gets us in trouble.
Our last caller here, 9656. Where are you calling from? Who are we talking to?
Hey, I'm calling from Southlake.
Hey.
Yeah, Southlake, Texas.
Okay. Hey, will you cut the volume down in the background?
I'm a little nervous about Jimbo going.
Jimbo going where?
I think they're going to fire him. I live in Texas, and the A&M fan base is up in arms.
Are you an A&M fan?
No, I'm not. I graduated from Auburn. I'm 6th generation. My daughter's there.
What do you want us to call you?
Pardon me?
What do you want us to call
What's
you?
your name, ma'am?
I live in Southlake, Texas, where my job is.
Oh, no. What's your name,
I'm
ma'am?
worried about that we're going to be in a bidding war.
We're going to call her South Lake.
Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been poking around on this all day to see if there's anything to Jimbo Fisher getting fired.
Jhead about to go roll tumors.
No. I honestly do not believe they are going to pay $86 million to buy Jimbo. I
But you got big oil here.
Ma'am?
And they don't want to lose.
I agree with that. And I think they're going to give him carte blanche with hiring a new staff. I do think that you're probably going to see a parting of ways with the entire offensive staff. I have no idea on the defensive side of the football. But I think they're going to try to remedy it through a new offensive coordinator and make Jimbo turn over play calling. But I do not see him being fired at this point. I know people are upset. Hell, I would be. You know what I mean?
Well,
If you were,
I mean, it's like my neighbor is so mad, and it's like.
I mean, when you start out in the top
We
10,
have more money than you all do. Okay, let's hire somebody.
I know what she's saying, Jhead. She's saying she doesn't want them to fire Jimbo because then they have the money to go and get a coach that Auburn may want.
Okay.
And I get what she's saying as far as that's concerned, but I would say that Auburn and A&M are two totally different fits, and that we probably don't need the same coach that A&M needs. And I understand what you're saying, that you're going to pay for a top-flight coach regardless, but you're seeing it play out in front of your eyes right now that Jimbo Fisher is not a fit at A&M, period. And if that's their hiring process, I'm quite confident that Auburn's going to be just fine with who we bring in by comparison.
One thing I know
I'm happy to hear we're going to bring in somebody, hopefully by Monday, is what you all been saying.
I don't think it's going to be Monday. I don't think
maybe not publicly.
Yeah, not publicly, no.
But you got to think, Southlake.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
Let's get a quarterback. I know we couldn't quit Quinn Ewers there. We tried, but anyway, thank you for taking my call.
Southlake.
Thanks for calling.
We need to hear back from you next week.
One thing I know about super rich people, because obviously I run in those circles, they don't there's a reason why they're super rich. You know what that reason is?
They don't give away their
money.
Yeah.
They don't just, they're going to figure – I think they just went 9-1 2 years ago, right? So before you completely cut ties with this guy – I could be totally wrong here, but before you completely cut ties with this guy, you try to figure some things out, go in some different directions and see if that works first before you just hand over, $80 million or whatever's left to this guy, okay? Because then you still got to – then you got to get rid of all the assistants. You got to pay them out. It ended up being over $100 million probably what you owe. And no school is just a bottomless pit of you know what I mean?
No, look, there's a lot of oil money out there.
Oh, I got you on that, but
that's too rich for their blood, Keith. Look, that's
you're also admitting you're wrong. You're also you've got to spend a fortune to go get somebody else. You're going to pay the next guy even more.
Well, and are you going to let Ross Bjork, who negotiated that contract, who's the AD out there, be the person that brings in your next head coach?
Yeah,
probably not. Probably, my guess is Ross is going to get fired before Jimbo gets fired, and then they're going to bring somebody else.
Goes, that kind of hire goes against the conventional wisdom, which I have and you guys have, is home run hire, right? Well, that was a home run hire.
If you're Auburn and you're negotiating this contract with your next head coach, there has got to be probably somebody in the room that says, all right, if we're going to throw all this money, we need to make sure we're all in, because there's no going back once you make a commitment like that. If you make a commitment of upwards of $70 million, and that's 70% guaranteed or 75% guaranteed, you cannot part ways with that person for 5 years. That's just what you're looking at. That is the reality of college football. And to be honest, that's probably fair for where we are right now. Auburn doesn't need to part ways, by more than 5 years. A&M, though, renegotiated the deal with Jimbo when he was 4 years in on a massive deal to begin with. You didn't have to do it. Nobody was going to get him. Nobody was going to take Jimbo Fisher off your hands. No offense. You did it yourself.
Did y'all know he was short?
Like 5'6".
Yes.
He is short.
I actually sat next to him at a state championship game down in Florida one year. He was recruiting a kid named Christian Green, a quarterback who ended up playing receiver at FSU. Huh. And when we got up to walk away, I'm like, God, I thought he was a lot taller.
I was standing in front of I was standing in front of the A&M tunnel before the game because I wanted to see Terry Price, the defensive ends coach, who was defensive ends at Auburn under Tom Tuberville. And as I was waiting for TP to come out, I look over and there's this, I guess, pretty woman, and she at least thinks she is. And this short guy walk up and kiss her on the lips, and I was like, "Ah, dang, dude, I hear you, big dog." He turns around. It's Jimbo Fisher. He's like, seriously, Cole would look down on him.
No,
he is short.
Don't go that far, Jeffrey.
How tall are you, Cole?
Well, I had my boots on last night, so I'm 5'8".
Okay.
Hey, I like the big dog.
I bet you he's not 5'9". Jimbo Fisher he's a lot shorter than I thought he was.
He's about 5'6".
And was a record-setting quarterback at Sanford, which is crazy, man.
Oh my gosh, he was. That's why I never pictured him being tiny.
Yeah, he was kind of the
He wasn't
Kyler
tiny.
Murray
He was kind of like Santa Claus. Like Santa Claus had been on a day. He was short and kind of stocky, like a little chubby. He had them curves.
Look like his boy Bowden.
Ooh.
Skunk Bowden.
Hey, I bet you he's about 3 inches taller than Terry.
You think so?
Yeah, not much. If
You know,
Terry's 5'6", this guy's maybe 5'9" with boots on. The real Zarkson. Yeah, I did my best. Any basketball recruiting news? Ace Bailey update. Nothing new on Ace Bailey. He was here a couple of weeks ago. Auburn's presumed leader for him, big-time 2024 five-star kid from McEachern over in Powder Springs, Georgia. Fantastic relationship with Bruce and Wes and Ira Bowman and Stephen Pearl. And would be shocking if he didn't come to Auburn. Now, you did have a five-star Flory Badunga in this weekend from Indiana. Had a fantastic visit. I talked to him. There's an update on Auburn Live on 3. Same with Cam Scott, the number 14 overall player in 2024. So in On 3 rankings, Flory is the number 4 overall recruit. Cam Scott's number 14. So you had 2 top 15 On 3 recruits on campus this weekend for official visits. Both of those guys are juniors right now, so they can come back for a senior year official visits, and both said they were absolutely do that. 2 guys, because that 2024 class is going to be large, and it's going to be fun to cover. So I'm looking forward to covering that 2024 class. You know what? Aiden Holloway, the 2023 commitment, is still a commitment. I was told he hadn't signed yet. The early signing period ends Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. I was told probably Tuesday. No concerns there with him as far as going somewhere else. They're just coordinating signing ceremony. He just wants to do it. And this kid is very difficult. He's not very public with his stuff. He just keeps to himself. So there's really nothing to get alarmed about. 4GAU is Holden still too far away from being ready to see the field? Obviously so.
Well, I think the problem is Will Friend, Ike Hilliard, Cadillac, they have all tailor-made an offense to fit Robbie Ashford.
Yeah, a running quarterback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, I mean,
a mobile quarterback.
Right.
Because that offensive line is not designed. It might be designed, but it's not fit to protect a pocket passer.
No,
let's be honest
as
here.
You can see, they're not terrible in the run game. They're actually decent.
Average
to above average.
I would say slightly above average.
Shit, okay.
I know what Lord George said that I wanted to address. He was talking about the level of competition.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And
to me, man, if you're talking about level of competition and it's Arkansas, Ole Miss, and A&M, well, you're playing them every year. That's a good thing. If you're saying that's a low level of competition, then you're in good shape, right?
And look, Bama has not stopped the run exceptionally well this year either. Okay, so I'm not saying that we can't have some version of success versus them. Now,
that's not the top, obviously, but that's on your schedule. That's the meat of your schedule every year. And if you're seeing them as lower, level competition, which they probably should be to Auburn, you're in decent shape there.
This is a pretty good question from Cleghorn here. Bigger gamble, Cadillac or Dion? Hypothetical question here.
Cadillac.
That is a good question.
Okay, immediately I went to where Jhead just went. Easy, Cadillac, right? Easy answer.
Dion's run a team. You know what I mean?
I go Dion.
But is Dion a bigger gamble at Auburn? Or is Cadillac a bigger gamble at Auburn?
I say Dion's a bigger gamble.
I changed my. I think I am too. At Auburn.
At Auburn, Dion's a bigger gamble because of everything that Dion brings. And I'm not saying what Dion brings is bad. I'm saying that Dion is a brand unto himself.
Absolutely.
And are the Auburn people comfortable with a brand the size of Dion? It's not. All right, Auburn has branded itself its own way for a long time. It's all about family. It's all about Auburn. Dion is a brand that is massive. It doesn't need Auburn, okay? And are people going to be comfortable with that? That's what I don't know.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Which is why I always say there was less than 0% chance of Dion being there. Byron Vick, who I guess is taking time out of his Tombstone watching. I'm sorry, not Tombstone. What is it? Yellowstone. Because he was like, yeah, I'm ditching y'all in about 20 minutes. I can't. Here you are. Oh, welcome back, Vicky. As of tonight, who do each of you expect to be Auburn's new head coach? I think it's a consensus. Who do we each think will be Auburn's new head coach? I think it's a consensus. Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, that's where I'm. I think it's Lane Kiffin versus the field. I mean, I'm not going to look. it could be somebody that I'm not even thinking about right now. I mean, they could. John Cohen could have struck a deal with,
Yeah.
The head coach at Duke, for all I know.
Pete Sanchez.
Pete Sanchez, right? Good call. But from what I feel, yeah,
Deadlift Shrimp Golf Clinic.
there you go. But no, I think it's Lane as of today.
Hold on. Let me rephrase. I don't expect him to be the new head coach. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't have information that I expect him to be next head coach. That's my guess right now. And I've kind of backed off of Hugh only because I talked to a couple of more people last night before and after and during the game, just filling them out. And they're not tier 1 sources or anything, but I respect that they talk to other people. They don't believe Hugh Freeze would be hired at Auburn. And I'm just taking that into consideration. Let's put it that way. So I've moved Lane up to my best guess.
Yeah, tea leaf reading, I would
Sure.
say. Yeah, tea leaf reading, I would go with Lane Kiffin right now.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time out to push pause on Yellowstone there, Vic. Pedro Sanchez, Pete's brother, coming in here hot.
There you go.
Tank needs 203 to reach 1K. Will he get it the next 2 games? 203? No. He better get it against Western. I don't know. You just said Bama struggles against the run.
I mean, Ole Miss gashed them. They gashed them. Now, I will say this. The problem for us in that game is going to be they're going to be like A&M, and they're going to be completely sold out to the run game because of our inability.
I dare you, Robbie Astor, to try and beat us with your arm.
Exactly. Now, what does he do against Western Kentucky? That may tell the tape, because if he gets 150 versus Western Kentucky, then it's not outside the realm of possibility for him to get 50 against Bama.
I'm going to say no because, man, Jarquez Hunter's coming on strong, dude. There's no way you keep him. I mean, the way that they're splitting carries, I mean, they are literally 1A and 1B right now.
But Jarquez only got 12 carries last night.
How many Tanks?
22, I think.
Okay. Hey, man. Hey, listen. Cadillac loves some Tank, big dog.
Yeah, he does.
And he loves him some Tank. Hey, I guarantee you Cadillac is aware that of Tank's 1K needs. And I would put the over-under at Tank rushing against Alabama around 60, just like Prize Picks has in the past, around 60. I mean, so I wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be senior day next week against Western Kentucky. Yep. Tank, by all accounts, is a senior. This is his final year of eligibility. At least I'm 90% sure. I don't know why he would come back at this point.
I mean, it would have to be a hell of an NIL deal.
Yeah. Hey, and let me tell you something. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, I believe that too. Now, A&M, so he had 23 carries for 121 yards, 5.3 a pop last night.
Do you think Tank is the 3rd or 4th round draft pick at this point?
I'd say a third. Yeah, third to fourth.
Last year, I would have said no. I thought he was dropping.
Yeah,
but he has gotten significantly better, more disciplined as a runner to me.
But he's not a first 2-round guy. He's not a first day guy.
Well, running backs in and of themselves in the NFL, they're devalued a little bit because you can get such great value in later rounds. So no, I don't see him as a first round back. Is he talented enough to be a first round guy with the right offensive line? Absolutely. I firmly believe that, contingent on the run scheme that you were utilizing. I mean, Tank Bigsby's the kind of guy in the SEC, he's a 1,500 yard back if he's in the right offense. I firmly believe that.
Right.
Look at his freshman year.
But I think he's probably going to turn pro because he's trying to eliminate tread on his tires. And they have done a good job this year. They have not ridden him too hard. If Gus were the offensive coordinator, look, man, he'd been broke by midseason. He'd have rode his ass till the wheels fell off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's probably 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, I think the goal.
And can On to Victory, I mean, they can't match that kind of money even still.
But can they make it close enough that it's competitive?
And Brett even said that. Brett Welch even said that on the call-in show the other night. And I think he was talking about more basketball, but I'm sure it relates the same to football. He's trying to at least make it competitive, the G League, keeping those guys from going there and coming to Auburn and having a comparable NIL deal.
Right. Because, Cole, at what point do they stop becoming guaranteed contracts? Is it the 4th round, I think? That it's a 9-year.
I think it's 4th round. 4th or 5th.
So if you slide into the 4th and you get cut in training camp, you get 0, bro. You get absolutely 0. Whereas you could be looking at, I don't know, whatever Brett can pay you from, on to victory. Guaranteed.
Yeah, right.
So I think it all depends on what his draft grade comes back.
But like you said, tread on the tires is a very big deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
And the only thing that you got to counteract that is you got Jarquez, who, like you said, is emerging. So can you sell sharing carries the next year in a better offensive scheme?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
All right, Zach, you got any more for us, big dog? Great show so far. Some really good questions, man.
We're good to go.
We got called up?
Yep. All called
Fantastic, man. Hey, great show, great questions, great comments. We appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody subscribing. If you haven't already, Auburn Live on 3, we've got a fantastic promotion going on right now, $25 until next season. Fantastic promotion. Again, if you're looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, give Jessica Andrews a call with eXp Realty, 334-704-4442. Residential investment properties. She does it all. She sells your home, too, really quickly. 334-704-4442. And she's a really sweet lady. Hey, thanks to Don Juan tonight for breaking the seal. Great calls tonight from Don Juan. Anthony, love to hear from Anthony, man. Zeke called in. Gomer with some good stuff. LG finally got on board. And then Miss Southlake, USA. Good stuff on the Fighting Jimbos. And she made a good point. We don't think it's the same market of guys. But hey, listen, everybody needs to be tuned in to Auburn Live on 3 this week because we might start hearing some things. Some things might start getting interesting beginning tomorrow. Keith and I will be back in the morning with Inside the 20. We're going to talk about recruiting weekend that was. A lot of official visits, a lot of unofficial visits, a new offer to a quarterback. That could greatly impact the recruitment of a 4-star edge. Big things working this week. Could be a commitment coming soon. Appreciate everybody, man. We really do. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you back. Keith and I will be back Monday, Wednesday. We'll have a modcast on Thursday. All 4 of us will be back on Friday to go even more detail on Auburn recruiting. Maybe he'll have some news there. Also going to have the final home game. Probably going to have some more visitors coming in. Thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate it. For Jhead, for Pink, for Keith, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See ya.